So the other day I was given a workshop to a bunch of high school teachers, working off about an hour and a half of sleep, not at my best. I was caught really flat-footed when one teacher said to me in front of the group, "We teach to the test." And while not everyone in the room, I know that not everyone in that room agreed with that sentiment, there seemed to be some consensus around that. What I wish I had said was, "No, you don't. You teach kids." And I wish I'd kind of emphasized that when I was talking with the group that day. Saw a TED Talk a little while ago, and in that TED Talk they talk about sea squirts. Sea squirts is an underwater animal that when it's born it floats about in the ocean, keeps moving, looking for a place to rest. When it finally finds a rock to settle on, the first thing it does is it eats its brain. And then it sits there brainless and just grows on the rock for the rest of its life. Kevin Honeycutt talks about some teachers that have that approach to learning. They find one way to teach, or they find their stuff that they use to teach their subject, and they teach that same course over and over again many, many times. I'm not saying necessarily that someone who's looking at teaching to the test is like a sea squirt. But it seems to me that if you think what you're doing is teaching to the test, then you're not focused on student learning. You're actually focused on the content, on the test, and not on how the students are doing as they're trying to learn the content that you're struggling to teach. If we're genuinely focused on how students are doing and how students are learning, then when it comes to summative testing, we might be looking at it not just for coming up with a grade, but how does it help a student grow and get better at what they're trying to learn? You can make FUST of that. You can make formative use of summative tests. 3 quick ideas. One idea is you give the kids a test, let's say it's a short quiz. Have them write it on their own, maybe 20 minutes, like it's a real test, like there's, each one on their own. But then put them into groups and give them 10 or 15 minutes to compare their answers. Discuss what they think the right answer is, allow them to make changes on their sheets, and then collect the tests, redistribute them around the class. So different kids have different people's tests, and then mark them together, explaining the assessment procedure. What do you get a mark for? What do you lose a mark for? What do you have to do to show excellence? Idea 1. Some objections to that is, well, then it's not their own work. Well, do you really do all your work on your own without any input from anybody else? If you've gotten even ever one idea from any of these videos that I've done, then you don't. A second idea might be to give the kids a test, and when you mark it, give it back to them, but don't tell them which questions they got right. Say, on this page there were 5 questions. Find and fix. You got 3 out of them right, 3 out of the 5 right. Find and fix the 2 you got wrong. You're welcome to consult someone else while you do that. Those are just a couple of ideas that you might be able to use as a way to make a formative use of summative testing.